The rain hasn't stopped for 3 days. It slides down the rusted gates of Stonewall Penitentiary like tears, washing over the barbed wire that glistens beneath floodlights. Cameras still crowd the entrance. Reporters still shout questions no one answers. And behind those walls, somewhere between myth and memory, the name Eli Mercer still echoes. No one has seen him since the night his notes leaked. No footage, no paper trail. Just silence, the kind that tastes of fear and bureaucracy. Warden Grant Halbrook hasn't spoken to the press. He hides behind prepared statements and security fences. Stonewall is under control, he says. There's no evidence of wrongdoing. But the tremor in his voice betrays him, because deep down he knows Stonewall is a crumbling lie, and Eli Mercer was the match that set it ablaze. In Washington, senators demand hearings. Civil rights lawyers circle like hawks. The Department of Justice launches a probe. But inside the prison, the men know better. They've seen how this goes. When power is threatened, truth gets buried, and those who speak up vanish. Then, one night, Officer Maria Reyes, the same guard who once slipped Eli that pencil stub, finds a package on her doorstep. No return label. Just a simple, weathered envelope sealed with tape. Inside is a flash drive. When she plugs it in, the screen flickers to life. Grainy video footage, time-stamped from Stonewall's surveillance system. For a long moment, it's just static. Then the image sharpens. A dim corridor, the sound of boots echoing, a group of guards dragging someone limp and handcuffed down the hallway. The camera pans slightly. It's Eli, bruised, barefoot, but alive. She watches in silence, heart pounding, as they take him into a room marked Sub-Level B, Storage Wing, a room that doesn't appear on any of Stonewall's blueprints. And then the video cuts out. Reyes sits there for hours, shaking. She remembers his eyes, that quiet fire, and she knows what she has to do. The next morning she drives back to Stonewall. Officially, she's on leave. Unofficially, she's going to find what no one wants found. She meets with an old maintenance worker, a man named Thomas Yates, who's been there long enough to know where the ghosts live. He leads her through service tunnels, through rusted doors and dripping pipes, until they reach an unmarked elevator shaft. It's sealed, padlocked. But there's dust on the lock and fresh boot prints in the dirt. They pry it open. The air that rushes out smells like old blood and bleach. They descend into the dark. At the bottom, a narrow corridor stretches ahead, lined with heavy metal doors, each with a small blacked-out window. Inside, the rooms are bare except for chains on the floor and stains on the walls. There are no cameras here. No logs, just silence. In one of the cells she finds it, a message scratched into the concrete with something sharp. 5 words. The truth is below us. Her flashlight trembles as she turns it toward the corner of the room. There, half buried under loose tiles, is a metal box. Inside, documents, photographs, voice recordings. Proof that Stonewall wasn't just a prison, it was a testing ground. For years, inmates had been forced into dangerous labor cleaning, chemical waste without protection, toxic exposure, unmarked deaths, falsified medical reports. The very scandal Eli tried to expose before he was silenced. But the files show more. Payments routed from Halbrook's private account to federal contractors. A hidden network stretching from the prison's basement all the way to the state senate. Reyes copies everything. Every file, every name, every invoice. And then she sees one last image, a security still, taken hours before the leak went public. It's Eli, standing in front of a control room computer, his face bruised but calm. He's holding a flash drive, the same model she found in her mailbox. And he's smiling. He knew. Somehow he knew she'd find it. She breaks down right there, kneeling on the cold floor of the sublevel. Because for the first time she understands Eli never escaped. He stayed, long enough to make sure the truth would. By dawn, Race uploads everything. Thousands of files, evidence, footage, names to every major outlet, every journalist, every rights organization she can find. Within hours it goes viral. Again, Stonewall becomes the symbol of everything broken in America's justice system. Protesters flood the streets. Senators resign. The Halbrook brothers vanish into private investigation, and the prison is shut down, officially. But inside the wreckage, when the bulldozers come weeks later, workers find something strange. A single concrete wall marked with words scrawled in black ash. They can lock a man away, but not his truth. No one knows who wrote it. But some say they've seen Officer Reyes at night, sitting at the site, whispering to the shadows. She says she still hears Eli sometimes, in the wind, in the rain, and the way silence falls before thunder. And maybe she's right, because truth doesn't die in the dark. It waits, patiently, for someone brave enough to dig it up again. So the next time you hear about justice, about how the system works, remember Stonewall. Remember the man who refused to stay silent. Remember that sometimes the heroes aren't the ones who win. They're the ones who make sure no one forgets. And if you ever wonder what became of Eli Mercer, maybe you're asking the wrong question. The real question is, how many more like him still wait, unheard, inside walls just like Stonewall's? Because what they don't want you to see is that the truth was never gone. It was just buried alive.
Wow.